This full suspension fat tire electric bike costs $1,999 in the link below this video. It's got some name brand components like a Bafang motor, it's got 4 piston hydraulic brakes, and is full suspension with a D&M air shock on the rear. So let's take a closer look at the components, then we'll get it out for a rip on the beach, check the performance, and see whether or not it's worth the money. Here's what it looks like when you get out of the box. We are rolling on Kenda tires. They are 20x4s, got the knobby tread. Also have name brand Tektro rotors. They are 180 millimeters. And this bike is running a Bafang geared hub motor on the rear. It's a reliable brand. This is a 750 watt nominal power motor that can peak out higher than that. So we also have some gears back here. Looks like there are 8 gears, and it's got a Shimano Altus derailleur. Rear rack comes installed. I don't know what this oily substance is. And we get a light on the rear. And it should be a pretty comfortable e-bike because it is full suspension with the 4-bar linkage. And it is an air shock. It's the D&M AO38. And it actually looks like it has a pretty good amount of travel. And it's got a few adjustments on there. You can lock it out or open it. Opening it makes it soft. Locking it out will keep everything stiff so you get a little better pedal efficiency. And then you got this wheel here to adjust the rebound. But as I always say on these air shocks, probably the most significant adjustment would be this. You can change the amount of air in that air shock to dial it in. You can dial it into your weight and riding preferences. So this e-bike has the short 20-inch wheels, which brings the whole thing lower to the ground. And it also has a step-through frame, so it should be really easy to get on and off this bike for both tall riders and short riders. And all this suspension stuff should be out of the way of your leg. So here's a look at the frame. Looks like it's got a pretty big battery. Locks on with the key. Press that button to pop it off. So it's got the clean frame integrated design. And it's also easy to drop in there since it goes from the top down. You don't gotta fight gravity getting it up. So looking at the label here, we can see it is listed as Kingbull brand, 20 amp hour, 48 volt system, 960 watt hours of energy. It's a healthy size battery for a bike of this power. We also have a little carrying strap there, and it weighs 11.4 pounds for the battery. It also comes with handlebars. They are the BMX riser style, so you'll be in a more upright riding position. Brake levers are also Tektro. We get a round rubber grip, quarter twist throttle, 8 speeds on a Shimano shifter. Here's the display. Don't see a phone charger. Power button, horn, headlight, and your other grip. Here's a look at the seat that comes with the bike. Seat seems great. The seat post does seem a little bit on the short side, which is kind of what they have to do on these style bikes because there's only so much room for it to go down there and not hit that suspension. You could always throw a longer seat post on there if you're a tall rider. The short one is great for short riders. It's got a quick release on there to easily adjust it. Just grab the charger out of the box. It is a 3 amp charger, which is pretty standard for a 20 amp hour battery. It takes just under 7 hours to charge that battery from empty to full. Here's a look at the other items included. You get a class 3 or a class 2 sticker, tools, a headlight along with the mounting hardware, all your manuals for the display and the bike, a set of metal pedals, derailleur guard, basic air pump, plastic fender, a MacBook Pro, and some AirPods Max. Okay, just kidding about those two, obviously. Front wheel has open dropouts. Let's see if I can wrestle this thing in there. So the whole thing just kind of snugs on down. It's got 4Go Zoom front suspension with the dual crown fork. No adjustments for the suspension on either of the stanchions. It's got the headlight on and the fender. So with the battery on, we'll hold the power button there and the screen fires right up. Get a little bit of orange color, speed in the middle, battery level, pedal assist goes up to 5 on this one. And we have miles. Trip voltage of the battery sitting at 48.4. We got to top it off. Time amps, I believe, amps output. So that'll give us an indication of power. If you want to get into the advanced settings, holding plus and minus, you got this cryptic stuff. Let's try the horn. Pretty quiet horn, pedestrian friendly horn. Let's turn on the light. Oh, the light was on. So light is not the brightest light I've ever seen. That's what it looks like from the front. Turns off, turns on. So we get a light on the rear. When you turn it on, it lights up brighter. And real quick, I did want to show you it does have 4 piston Tektro hydraulic brake calipers on the front as well as on the rear. Also get a big brake rotor, Tektro brand on the rear. Also a 180 millimeter rotor. Stopping power should be plentiful. And also it looks like there might be a place for some sort of passenger pegs. It's got the same mount on the other side. However, I don't see sort of any mounts on the front for a basket or anything on front, and no sort of mounts for like water bottles or anything like that. Just got that big rack on the back. And just to show you the size of this bike, I'm 6'5", inseam 34. Nice, easy, wide, low step-through frame, makes it easy to get on this bike. Sitting on the seat, feeling out the suspension, feels pretty solid. Not like solid. Feels like it should be a comfy bike to ride. All right, dudes, let's check out the Kingbull Jumper Go and see how it rides. We are on a full charge. So let's go ahead and see what kind of torque it has. We're running up the 20% grade with a 200-pound rider. Super easy getting on this bike with a low step-through frame, full throttle, pedal assist 5. What kind of torque we working with on this? So we do have these shorter 20-inch wheels, which generally give you more torque to the ground. Pulls us right up, no problem, throttle only. And I'll tell you about the power assist modes when we get to the beach here in just a few. So here's an amps readout. Let's see what it can do 0 to 20. Throttle only, ready, go. So it's showing, oh, it doesn't show us the amps readout actually. 15, 19, 20. So I mean, it gets up the speed as quickly as you would ever really need to on an electric bike. But you know, if you're looking for like something crazy juicy, this is not probably gonna be the option for you. But it does feel safe to ride. I have not tried pedaling it yet. So since throttle will limit us to 20 miles an hour, we will need to pedal to go faster than 20. And it is a torque sensor, so it gives you power in proportion to how hard you press. Now gearing, we are on top gear of 8. You really have to be cranking those pedals real fast, really fast to get over 20, 25-ish really. So let's try the top speed on this. Throttle will get you up to 20 pretty easily, and it'll probably do you good on range because you get better fuel economy at 20 than higher than 20 speeds. But we'll start pedaling now, see what it's like. So it gives you power proportion to how hard you press at the torque sensor, and about 25 miles an hour. I really just, I mean, dude, I'm like spinning my legs 9,000 miles an hour here. But we can get up to right around 28-ish. Now, if you get that upgraded controller, I guess you could throttle it beyond 20. So if you don't want to be turning your legs a million miles a second, that might be beneficial. So what about riding at slower speeds? So let's talk about how this bike is a ride at reasonable speed. So we do have that D&M air shock on the rear, which actually does feel pretty nice. I didn't even mess with the air pressure in it, but it's a lovely option that you can dial that rear air shock in to your weight and riding preferences. It feels pretty good cruising over this. The riding geometry of this bike is very upright. So soft suspension on the rear makes it ride nice over all of this harsh off-roading. The seat on this bike is narrow and relatively firm. I did notice it's a fairly firm seat. Front suspension is extremely basic. It does feel good like riding on, you know, soft terrain, but there's no adjustability on that front shock whatsoever. A knobby tread on these kind of tires. It's good and grippy for a little bit of, you know, loose sand here with some hard ground under it. Now, it doesn't seem like it's gonna have enough power to really plow through riding out there, but we'll try it in a minute. Oh yes, this is an electric bicycle. Let's try some of the pedal assist. So in general, you know, it kind of feels like a more nimble, approachable electric bike with this wide step-through frame here and low center of mass due to those short wheels. You know, I think a lot of people would be pretty comfortable getting on this bike. Let's throw it down to like gear number 1. So we do have 8 gears on this bike. Pedaling it with no motor kind of sucks. You're only gonna be going about 4 miles an hour, but if your battery does die, you'll be all right. Compared to some of the really heavy bikes on this channel, yeah, we get cruising about 6 miles an hour here. 7 miles an hour is comfortable on gear 4. So we'll throw on pedal assist 1, and that should make us work for the power the hardest. Seems to be pretty liberal on that power delivery, even on pedal assist 1, and then it kind of just like cuts you off right at about 9-10 miles an hour. It almost kind of feels more like a cadence sensor than a torque sensor. So let's throw it on 2, and that gives us access to the power again. Really quite easy, although I can tell it is a torque sensor. There is a little bit of variability in how much power it's delivering. But yeah, on pedal assist 2, that seems to want to bring us to about 13 miles an hour. And we're on gear number 8 at 13 miles an hour. So it is nice that this bike does have 8 gears, more than the typical 7, but it's definitely geared for like slower speed pedaling, because even at 13 here, I honestly don't really want to be pedaling much faster than even 13, but we'll try pedal assist 3, and that just brings us up just a little bit more. Yeah, makes you work for it a bit here on pedal assist 3, working for that power. I guess pedaling at 18 isn't bad, but my legs are moving at a pretty good cadence. Let's go pedal assist 4, give you that power even more easy. This hill has been rearranged I'm not riding up that, bro. I don't think this bike would make it, honestly. We'll try it out there in just a minute. And then obviously pedal assist 5, which we already tried. That'll give you, it'll unlock the full beans of this bike and get you to about 28. So let's give this thing a try on the sand. I'll throw it on pedal assist 5, get a bit of a roll out here. And what kind of power are we working with? So I have it on gear 1. I'm just gonna start pedaling now because I can feel it kinda, yeah, it's not gonna work. So tire PSI is on 20, but yeah, we got that throttle. So, I mean, if you need to go ride through some extreme terrain, you can just kind of waddle along with the throttle. But ultimately, yeah, I mean, it's a peppy feeling bike, but just extreme stuff like this, it's not gonna wanna do it for you, man. All right, let's try the California incline. As mentioned, this bike feels pretty nimble. I wonder how fast we can take this. All right, definitely had to use the brakes there. Let's go ahead and try this from the base of the California incline, which is a 85-foot elevation gain, average 12% grade. 17, and throttle will hit its max speed of 20 right here. So obviously it can do the California incline. We're just trying to keep things consistent here. And the brakes on this thing are actually real nice. So if you're flooring it and you need to come to a stop quickly, you can do that with the 4-piston Tektro hose. Yeah, bro, brakes are fantastic on this bike, especially considering the weight and the short tires. All right, so we're gonna head home, take the final range. I'll share my final thoughts on this e-bike along the way. So, if you do wanna buy one of these, use that link down below the video in the description box. Buy through that link, it would help support my reviews and get you the best price. Current MSRP on this one is just under $2,000, so you know, it's not the cheapest electric bike on the market. Like if you're looking for the most crazy power for the money, you can definitely find more power elsewhere. Although they do offer, you know, the controller upgrade to squeeze a little more miles per hour out of this one. 28 miles an hour is honestly fast enough probably for most people. How do I feel about this bike? I mean, it's a comfy bike to be on. I like the riding position. It's like a really chill upright riding position. The rear shock on it, I really like that they emphasize the more premium suspension on the rear as opposed to the front. Front suspension is fine, but the rear suspension with that D&M shock rides nice on that 4-bar linkage. So it's a pretty comfy ride, and then you know it feels pretty nimble too because it's got the short wheels, the 20-inch wheels. It's easy to get on and off with that low step-through frame. Battery is big enough, you know, it helps keep it feeling nimble at a 48-volt, 20-amp-hour battery pack. So I mean, you know, this is a pretty common format, and I think the Kingbull Jumper Go does it pretty well. As far as pedaling this bike, yeah, you know, it's got 8 gears on it, but once you start getting over about 15, 20 miles an hour, it could benefit from a larger chain ring for some higher speed pedaling. And the brakes are real good on this. Tektro 4 pistons. We don't really see that on too many bikes, but you know, at $2,000, they better be giving us some nice stuff on this, right? So the range number we're gonna see is basically throttling all day long. I am not encouraged to pedal this bike whatsoever. Just ping that 20. All right, dudes, just rolling back to the neighborhood. We did about 19.2 miles. We'll end up at 20 miles before this ride's over. We were out there for an hour and 19 minutes of ride time, and after holding down the throttle essentially all day, just cruising at 20 miles an hour, we averaged 14.43 miles per hour. Now, what remains on the battery? Let's take a look. So it says 2 out of 5 bars remaining. The voltage of the battery is reading 47.8 volts, just under the nominal voltage of 48 volts. So battery is, well, it just popped up to 3 out of 5 bars, but 48 volts is probably just under 50% charge on this battery after 20 miles of throttle only riding. So pretty solid on the range. You know, this battery I feel like is a good setup to, you know, have a good healthy amount of lightweightness, nimbleness, and also good range. So if you do want to grab one of these, click on that link down below the video, buy through that link. It would help support my reviews, and I greatly appreciate your support. However, if this is not the kind of e-bike for you, bro, watch this video. Catch you over there.